Hello, I am live. I am live on the tube of you. Oh boy, my light has been fixed. I had a problem earlier. I wonder if it's because I was pointed this way. No, I was pointed the other way. I don't know. I had a weird light glare. It was coming from this light behind me, and I don't have it now. It was very annoying. In the morning or earlier in the day, when there's sun coming in that window right there, I put a backdrop up because it's very bright. So I don't have that up now because the sun is almost down because it's 8 p.m. And I was doing this at 8 a.m. and I was tired. And now I'm doing it at 8 p.m. and I'm tired. So someone's here. Oh boy, who's here? Type your name in the comment or type in the comments and say hi, and I'll know who you are. So, woohoo! This morning started out very slow, and then it got busy, and it was fun. I think it's fun. If I get one person, it's worth it. If I get 2 or 3 people or more, it's fun. And I think, how many did I have? 9? I don't remember. Amy! Hi, Amy! Do you have any questions for me? Because I need to talk about something. Sweet. I want to make a video about, I don't think I'm ready to make it yet, but I want to make a video about oral pitch raises. Stability. Oh, okay. I did that in one of my earlier videos. I think I will talk about it again. Oh, and it's a hard thing to talk about because I have my way to do it, and then everybody else has their way of doing it. And I know people are going to say, "Don't listen to her; she's wrong," and that's fine. But it works, you know. So first, let me talk a little bit about stability because it's funny. There's 2 camps. Well, there's 3 camps actually now on stability. Okay. Yes, Amy. Yes, saw your earlier live stream and wanted more info on your way, my way. Oh, okay. Well, let me talk about 3. Sorry, I've got. Let me talk about 3 aspects of this. Then I'll move to the piano. So 3 camps. There is the camp that believes you need to pound. You know, you have to do test blow, test blow, test blow. Not even test blows, but hard tuning test blows the whole time. And that's how you get stability. And it works. Okay, it does work. I'm not going to knock it. If they can do that with earplugs, more power to them. Excuse me. I did that for many years. And I had to wear earplugs, or I would damage my hearing. I probably did damage my hearing a little bit. I can't wear earplugs. I've given up on trying to wear earplugs. I hate it with a passion. My ear ringing is too loud to deal with earplugs, so I have learned how to tune quietly. I believe you can get stability tuning quietly with lever technique. Now, there's 2 camps in that world. There's the camp I'm in, that believes you can get stability by flexing the pin. There's another camp that believes you can get stability without flexing the pin. I have had some of these people show me how they get stability, and I have yet to see someone not flex the pin. I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying I haven't seen it yet. They'll say, I do it without flexing the pin. I'll watch them, and there'll be this little push when they're done. Well, you just flex the pin. Okay, so there's that. Dan Levitan did experiments with this. He couldn't get tuning stability without flexing the pin. And I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying I can't do it, at least not now. So when you're tuning with the lever, you can't not flex the pin anyway with a regular lever, because when they say they're not flexing the pin, they mean they're not flexing it in the speaking length. So let me go to my piano. Let me talk about that, and then I'll talk about how I tune. Wait, I'm here. Yeah, I can do this. Whee! Banjo. Piano. Okay. And that's my C lever. We talked about that this morning. It was kind of fun. All right. So, that's a muted string. Let's see. I I can turn on more light and I can go a little higher. This is my new tuning fork case. Do you like it? It's fuzzy. It's wool. We don't need that. Okay. I don't know what string I'm on, but I'm just going to talk right now. So if you have your hammer in line with the strings, you move left and right, and the pin will flex left and right. You can't not do that. That's just how it is. But you're not flexing it toward the speaking length when you have your pin set this way. And the purpose of that is to have control over that flexion. So if you have tight pins, and I've said this in 2 videos now, but I'm going to say it again because I believe this. If you have really tight pins, you can put this thing at 90 degrees and tune, and it will flex the pin toward the speaking length. But if they're really tight, you have to push harder to get it to move, and you'll flex the pin more. So if I bring it up, you do flex the pin up, but when you're pushing down, you're flexing the pin down, you lower it to pitch, and you let go. When you let go, the pin bounces back like a spring, and it pulls back on the non-speaking length. So if you have really, really tight pins, which I almost never have, but I've had them, I have found that I can put this at 90 degrees, bring it above pitch, push it to pitch. You know, I'm playing the note, I'm getting it to pitch, whatever. I don't know what note I'm on. Anyway, push it to pitch, let go, and it bounces back, and you're stable. Unless the pins are so tight that it actually bounces back further and pulls it sharp, in which case you have a problem. But that doesn't happen that often. It's very rare, but it can happen. In which case you have to wiggle a little more and kind of actually go back and forth and get it in tune to where it's harder to push flat than it is to pull sharp. Easier to pull sharp than push flat. Then you know you're about in the right ballpark. You set it, you should be all right. And how you test this, unfortunately, is with a test blow. So if you want to test it, you got to use a test blow, plug your ears, whatever. When you've done it 100 times, you start to trust your tactile judgment. So anyway, without tight pins, we're back over here. And the reason I go this way is because I can accomplish the same thing with flexing the pin. So I'll tune left and right, and the pin's flexing left and right. It's not affecting the speaking length or the non-speaking length. I'll tune. I'll bring it a little sharp, and where it takes a little bit of effort to push it flat, but then I'll flex it flat. So I'm just a little sharp, easier to pull sharp than push flat. I'm having a little effort to push it flat. I'll get it just a little sharp, and then I'll pop it down flat. I'll give slack here when I bend this down. I'll flex the pin like a spring. Think of it like a spring. Don Menino said that. I'm not making that up. That came straight from Don Menino's mouth. I keep having to quote other people because I know people are going to give me a hard time. Dan Levitin and Don Menino tune this way. You flex it. The tension comes down past the A graph. Less tension here. Goes into the speaking length. You get it on pitch. You let go. When you let go, the pin bounces back, and you have a little bit more tension in the non-speaking length, which is what you want, because you want equal tensions on the non-speaking length and speaking length on a hard blow. That's what gives you stability. You want it just slightly more tension in the non-speaking length than the speaking length when at rest. So when you hit it hard, they have equal tension and it doesn't go out of tune. If you have too much tension in the non-speaking length and you do a hard blow, it can actually go sharp. How you get that, this is the basic way of how to get that. Pianos are different. They have different friction, different tightness. You just keep all this in mind and you experiment and you get a feel for it, and you'll get a feel for it. So I hope that answered your question. I had someone else pop on a minute ago, but I think it was a mistake because they left. I think they're not interested. Amy, I think my concern is that you tune the pitch where you want it via flex etc., but you remove hammer from pin to move on, and it may be different than what you just thought. So tell me if I'm understanding this correctly. Well, let me tune something. By the way, Amy, since you're here, oh, 2 more people here. Amy, can you hear my dishwasher in the background? Do I need to turn it off? I'm gonna let Amy answer me. The dishwasher's running. She's not paying attention to me. I'm so sad. Who else is here? Say hi. Who else is here? No. Okay, good. Thank you, Amy. Okay, I'm gonna pull this out. Doop-a-doop. So I have a nasty out of tune unison there. Who's here? Say hi so I know who you are. That's nasty sharp. Okay, perfect example of me. Yeah, I gotta hit return. Oh yeah. Yeah, you have to hit return for the comment to come through. So this is an example of me pushing down a little too much, a little too soon. I had it in tune. I let go. Hear that out of tune wave? It probably won't come through on the video because they never do, but they're usually pretty good live. So I'm going to whack it, but I don't expect this to be good at all. I expect this to either stay where it is or go sharp right now. Went sharp. So let me manipulate this again. That was kind of a firm blow there. I'm not happy with this unison. I'm going to whack it because I'm not confident it's stable right now. Let me see what happens. Trying to knock it out. Okay, so I'm on the right track here. That's pretty stable. Not bad. I'm going to do this one more time. I'm more confident with this. Now that I've said that, watch it go out of tune. Not bad. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. And now I'm wiggling my hammer. I think I'm pretty stable here. Okay, so I think I'm stable. Now, once I'm stable, if I take this hammer off, if I'm worried about it, I can play it again and listen and see if it's still there. This is just a unison, of course. So if I was doing a major third, I could get it where I want it, take the hammer off, play it again, make sure it didn't move, and then I can move on. I think that's what you were asking about. I hope. Is that what you were asking? If I have a friend who checks stability by wiggling the hammer. I hate that because on some pianos that would knock me out of tune. It just would. For example. But anyway, I don't consider myself an expert on hammer technique, but I can show you what I do. I can show you what works for me. Oh, good. I answered your question. Yay! Who else is here? Oh, there's more people here. Say hello to me. Comment. Let me see. Buddy. Hi. Okay, I am here. Sort of, kind of, maybe. Oh, that's my plant. That is my plant. Yes. Okay. I'm a silly person. Someone say hi. Oh, there's 6 people here. Amy's the only one talking to me. Somebody else has to comment so I know who's here. Say hello. Say hello. You can see my ring lights in my glasses. I have extra pupils. Let's see. Casey, hi. Lateral push up and down to get the string. Yes. Casey Wilkes. I usually give a slight lateral push up and down to get the string to slip if it's going to slip. Lateral. So do you mean in playing with the string? I'm sorry, I should know this. Casey, do you mean in the plane that the strings are in, like the same level with the strings, or do you mean against the strings, sharps and flats? Because both of those can work. Both can work. Correct. So, okay, so Casey is using the twist of the pin, whereas I'm using the flex of the pin. So Casey is with really loose pins, that doesn't work very well for me. If someone else can do it, great. Like I said, I know what works for me. I've had to learn a lot the hard way by myself. I don't necessarily push the hammer up and down. Oh, okay. So the same as me. But if you have really tight pins, you can do a lot with the twist. You can do a lot with that. But if they're not tight, I'm really dependent on flex. Jacob last. Hi. Thank you for saying hi. Yay. Okay, so I talked, let's see, what time is it? Oh, I talked 10 or 15 minutes about hammer technique, which is not my expertise. But if someone else wants to ask anything about aural tuning or share anything, an experience about aural tuning, it's a narrow topic. If it says I have 4 people here, so I'm thrilled. The audience is very small. But so the most I think I've ever had now is 11, which to me is an awesome crowd for this. This is not an exciting topic, but it's exciting to me. I think it's cool. Let's see. Amy, want to explain the setting of A4-3 using E6? Wait, what? A4. I might be slow. Hold on. A4 using E6. Wrong octave. Oh, okay. Do you mean F for a 4-2 octave? Is that what you mean? Oh, wait, Casey. Let me back up to Casey. Currently dealing with my studio piano. The bass dampers, are twisting a little bit and then don't sit correctly. Oh, I hate that so much. Oh my God. I hate damper work. I've gotten better at damper work because of the pain I have been through with dampers. So if they're twisting, if anyone is on here who does damper work, chime in. This morning, some people asked questions about voicing, and I had someone I've adjusted it like 50 times, I swear. So so you're adjusting each individual damper. Not just, you have to adjust them with every time you tighten the screw, the metal, the damper stick thing, vocabulary, I swear, the damper wire can twist. So you'll get the damper perfect and you'll tighten the screw and it'll go, and I don't know if you're doing this or not, but if you use needle nose pliers instead of a screwdriver, works way better than a screwdriver. So when you tighten the little screw, don't over tighten it. And when you tighten the screw on the damper, use needle nose pliers. And then sometimes I've gotten really good at it, though. I've gotten good at wire bending. And so let's see, only a few in the bass are the ones being affected, especially near the struts. That's interesting. I don't know what would cause that. Oh, happy piano. A suggestion. Are you pressing the pedal and then they twist as they come up like little hula dancers? I was assuming that's what Casey meant. Casey will definitely try the needle noses. Oh, gosh, yes. Yes, don't tighten them with a screwdriver. They will twist. They will mess with you. It's a nightmare. Use needle nose pliers, way better. Happy piano. I think that's what Casey's saying. Do you have a suggestion? We're all a team. Yay. Trying to solve the world's problem as pianos. They are twisting when you depress the key. Well, are they twisting when you press the pedal as well? They should be. It should be the same. So when you depress the key or push the pedal or whatever, they come up and they twist. So that means, no. You push the right-hand pedal that lifts the dampers and the dampers don't twist. I have to think about this. I don't understand that. It should be the exact same mechanism lifting the damper. Or if it's not noticeable. Okay. Should be the same. If it's not the same, I definitely am clueless on that. Happy piano. It should be the same with both. This should be the same with both, but I've seen things that just blow my mind on pianos. I have a video I never put up of a vertical piano. I'm off on another topic now. I'll come back to this one. It was a vertical piano. It was a Kawai. It was an old Kawai. And for 2 years, and then it's just stopped. For 2 years, it was a vertical. If I flexed the pin down toward the strings, it would go sharp. And if I flexed it away, it would go flat. And I could tune it, and it would always do the opposite. And the only way I could tune it is to kind of guess where it would go after I whacked it. And I'd have to whack it into tune. It was maddening. It was so crazy. I made a video of it. I have it somewhere. Okay. Same with both. Okay, so back to dampers. So what happens with a damper? This is the string. This is the string, and this is the damper. Like let's say it's a single string, and the damper's cupping it. Okay, so the damper should come straight up. If it doesn't, it means that it's twisted up here, and when it's coming down, the string is strong enough. The gravity is strong enough to force it into place, and then it untwists when it comes up. So its resting position needs to be exactly that same thing. And the first time I ever had to deal with dampers, oh my God, I cried. I cry a lot. It's okay. Yeah, it happens both key and pedal. Okay, fortunately, harder blows and the pedal seat the damper more forcefully. Wait, Casey says it happens both key and pedal. Fortunately, harder blows and the pedal seat the damper more forcibly. On very light blows, it comes down. Oh. Okay, so what you're saying is when it comes down on a light blow, there's not enough gravity to pull it. But when it comes down after a heavy blow, the string is vibrating it, and it kind of helps it settle down into pitch. I think into place. I think that's what you're saying. So what I've done, my grammar stinks when typing. It's hard. I know. It's okay. You're fine. Happy Piano has a suggestion. I suggest the players as well, but note you don't need to tighten it down hard. Correct. Just make sure the screw is snug to the damper wire, and that should be enough. If you tighten too hard, it will cause twist. Absolutely, 100%. Happy Piano is correct. So if you're doing that, try not tightening as hard. And what I did one time when I was having a nightmare with this, I got them all very, very, very close. And then I bent the damper wires to fix, but I got good at that. I would not recommend that to a new person. I would never do that. Casey says, thanks, Happy. I'm probably trying to be too snug. Awesome. Hey, see what this is like with a team effort? Yay. Never did I think I'd be connecting people with questions and answers, and I just have to sit here and watch and do nothing except read them. It's fantastic. Amy, old felts create previous funky habit. Old felts. Oh, yeah. Helps if you have bean bags or someone else to hold from the top as you screw the top, just as an experiment. Happy Piano, bending wire advice, less is more. That is also correct. That is also correct. Unless someone else came along and bent it before you and bent it to smithereens because they bent it too much, then you have to fix it. But otherwise, yes, less is more, 100%. 100%. Amy, I think what Amy is saying, if you're adjusting them, you can put a beanbag on top of the dampers as a little weight. If you put too much weight, it can actually skew them and mess them up. So be careful with that. If you just have a light beanbag, maybe try it. I've never done that, so I don't know, but it's a suggestion someone can experiment with. So let's see, we have Happy Piano. If someone was there before you and bent them a ton, then you just cry and hope to make it better. I know, right? Oh, I've seen some crazy things. One of the weirdest ones I ever saw was this one damper. It was bent so much, and the woman had no idea how it got bent. And I'm like, do you clean the piano? And she said, yes. And she showed me dusting the piano with a rag and going across the dampers. And I'm like, you probably caught one. You know, I'm like, if you dust dampers, go in line with the strings. Don't go across. I think she was going across, and it caused a little damage. So thank you, Happy Piano. I appreciate that. This is awesome. So let's see. We have Happy, Amy, Casey. That's 3 people who've said hello, and 5 people are here. There are 2 people who are spying. If you feel so inclined, please say hi and let me know you're here. I don't think I've talked about aural tuning yet. We've talked about tuning lever and dampers. I can count myself as a viewer. So that means there's 6 of us then. So there's 6. Oh, now there's 7. There's another one. We have a new viewer. Someone say hello and tell me hello and let us know you're here. Amy, setting initial A when compared to a source, comparing beat speeds using E. Okay. I have to think about this. But we have F. You wouldn't use E, would you? What am I missing? I don't think there's an E. Use F. Major third, right? I'll come back to that again. So that'll be tuning. I can talk about the A. Okay, Casey. My mentor cautioned pushing down on them while tightening them. They sort of flex back and you might have a technique. But you might have a technique. I see what, yeah. Okay, so what Casey's saying is her mentor warned about a weight on dampers. And that's been my experience. I haven't done this a lot, but it just seems to not work. It seems to distort them, the weight does. So when you think you have them right, you take the weight off and they're different. Salt Lake Piano Service Company. Hello. Salt Lake City. I bet I know this person. I might know you. Salt Lake City. I know several piano techs in Salt Lake City. Amen. Okay, they agreed. There you go. So Casey, let's see. Casey says to Salt Lake City Piano, holy call, Salt Lake Piano. That guy is awesome. Woo! Okay, who is it? I don't want to say it out loud in case I'm wrong. Who is Salt Lake Piano Service Company? It's either Jim Busby or, see, I've said it out loud. Now I'm going to be embarrassed. Or it's one of those other awesome people out west. Whoever it is, I'm quite sure it's awesome. We have 7 people now. Other people need to say hello. Salt Lake, tell me who you are. Is it Jim? If it's Jim, I want to say hello. And it could be Rick or Jim or Morgan or who else? Oh my gosh. There's so many and I'm drawing a blank. Is it Morgan? Okay. A. Okay, let's talk about setting A for a minute. So, wait, Happy Piano. Maggie, I believe they're asking about how to set A4 with a digital tone. And then, oh my God, I'm brain dead. And listening for the third partial, which is E6. This is how I did it for the RPT exam. Thank you. Thank you, Happy. Amy, I'm so sorry. I'm tired. Salt Lake. Jim Busby taught you? Oh, sweet. I love Jim. He's awesome. Jacob, aural tuning question. Now I got to get back to A, though. I'm taking Mark Sarasonar's course in learning tuning open unisons. Do you find that when you tune single strings using a temperament strip, then tune the full chords, you beat your beat? Speed relationships are still as good as you originally set them? That's a good question. Mark talks about Weinreich drift as one problem with tuning single strings, the pitch shift when you tune the other strings. Correct. I will talk about that. Let me address A first, although I do have videos on this. I don't have an electronic sound. Yeah, I do. I don't know if this is not going to come through on the video. I think you're better off just watching my video on it. Let's see here. Let me get a sound. Here's A. Okay, let me sustain. So I'm going to play an electronic sound. And I'm going to play A. Well, it's not that in tune. Hold on. I don't know if you can hear it on the video, but there's a higher. up there. Trying to slow it down. This piano has a lot of friction. Hold on. So it's a little fast. So this is a little sharp right now. I don't know if you can hear it though. So if I mean, okay, it's 3 cents sharp. It was a little sharp. It's 3 cents. So that would fail the exam. But if I could get it slower, so my with this one, you want it to be, it is coming through. Thank you, Happy Piano. Could you hear it? It was too fast. So you want it to be about, well, between 2 and 4 beats a second. See, that depends on the piano. The higher the inharmonicity, the faster you want it. But on an exam piano, you're going to be looking at 2 to 3 beats a second. On my Sommer, it's 4. It's a solid 4 on my Sommer piano. On this, it's probably a little lower. But you just listen to that. You come from the top, not the bottom. You tune A from the top, and you just listen for that. And when you get 3 beats a second, you're done. It's set. You can do it fast. Amy, so tuning A4, comparing beat speeds at E6 to be 2 to 3 beats per second. Thanks. Yes, that is correct. That's all you have to do. The traditional way is to use another beating interval, and then you compare that to the tuning fork, and then you compare this interval to the low note in the tuning fork, and you get them to match, and then you know A is correct. That's the traditional way. For an exam, the reason we like the electronic sound for the exam is because you have 45 minutes to tune A in the mid-range. And if you use 30 seconds, I used 20 because I was practicing my butt off. 20 to 30 seconds to set A. You have the rest of the 5-minute limit that you could have used to tune A to tune your temperament mid-range. So you have 45 minutes, but that 45 minutes, you have 5 minutes to set A, but that comes out of that 45 minutes. So you want to tune A as fast as possible and get those extra minutes for your mid-range. So that's the theory, and it worked for me because I'm a slow tuner. I set A really fast, and I needed every second to tune the mid-range. Okay, Mark Sarasano. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about Weinreich shift. So Weinreich shift happens, and I don't fully understand it. So you may quote me. You can say Maggie said, but also say Maggie is not fully educated in this topic, But Weinreich shift happens when 2 different strings come together. So you have, let's say I'm tuning A, okay? And I'm tuning 2 strings. So I tune 1 string. Let's say I get it perfect with my fork or whatever, okay? Let's say I bring in another string. 2 things can happen. You can have Weinreich shift and you can have coupling, okay? What happens with Weinreich is the theory, one of the theories that has been proposed, so this is not coming from me, I've read this, is that the nodes of the string are not lining up. And so you can get each string to the exact same pitch. And you can measure this with an ETD. It's totally measurable, okay? You can get both strings exactly the same on the ETD. And when you play them together, you have a perfect unison. The ETD registers the pitch as different. Usually lower. I don't know why. It can go up or down, but it's usually flat. It can be a cent flat. Most people say, well, it doesn't go that flat. Well, most of the time, no, it doesn't. But it can. I have witnessed it personally on really crappy pianos. It's not going to happen on an exam piano, but it can happen. So if you tune 2 strings together, they can shift. The other thing is you can couple. So what'll happen, and you can measure this with an ETD as well. If you have 1 string where you want it, aurally, then you bring the other string in, and like with sympathetic vibrations, they're going to want to pull to each other. So 1 string can be a little flat, the other string can be a little sharp, and as they get closer, they literally pull each other together. So the string you're not tuning can be drawn sharp to the string you're lowering to it, or vice versa. And the string you're lowering can be lowered further, and they will lock. They will mesh and they will lock, and you will get a nice sounding unison. But if you played each string by themselves, they will register different. And so they're coupling. Now, another thing that can happen is that you can get the symptoms of coupling, but it's not coupling. You can get harmonic series on strings that don't line up. You have different inharmonicity on two different strings because of something wrong with the wire or something like that. So then you can tune a unison and get it sound good orally, but an ETD might say they're different pitches. And then your end result will have the similar effect to Weinreich, even though it's not Weinreich. It's because of an inharmonicity shift between the two strings. So you've got all these things going on. So if I mute strip a whole piano and I tune just those single strings, if I pull that mute strip out and tune all my unisons and go back, there's a reasonable chance that it will not be the same as where I left it. Okay. Not only because of all the reasons I just explained, but unless those unisons were really like within 4 cents to begin with, I can actually cause a little 5 cents. I can actually cause some shifting of neighboring strings just from the tension shift, if that makes sense. So Jacob, let's see, Jacob. Yep, tuning double strings, shimming the unisons. I've been able to move one string a tiny amount where the unison is still clean, but the pitch changes. Coupling. Yes, that's coupling. That is coupling. Yep. So you got to watch out for that too, because it can mess with you. So my deal with this, I use a temperament strip when I tune, because I'm constantly experimenting with what I'm teaching. I'm teaching tuning concepts, and in order to learn these concepts, we have to have single strings. So just trust me on that. I don't want to go into why at this moment, but we're learning concepts with single strings. And some of my students have pianos where the unisons are not lovely. So I want single strings for teaching the concepts. All right. Once you've learned the concepts and you can tune a piano, then we can talk about double string unisons. Okay. If I'm tuning a piano in a home, I'll go over it, but 9 times out of 10, I make very few changes. Most of those changes are in the low tenor. I'll take that back. Low tenor, upper bass. I'm going to make some changes with double string unisons. I'll probably make some. But on a high-end piano, no. They're fine. It sounds great. It sounds absolutely awesome. So the lesser the piano, the more you have to fiddle with it, which, double string unison or not, that's just how it is with a lesser piano. You're going to mess with it. If I'm doing a concert tuning, then I will tune the piano, and then I will tune it again with double string unisons. I will go over it. And even not double strings, just open, just everything open, and tune it again that way, because that's what Rick taught me. So that's what I do. And it's fine. And all the above ways are fine. All that matters is that end result is good, high quality. So let's see. Let me make sure I answered all these questions. I think I answered Jacob's question. I'm trying to think if there's more about that. Yeah, I would probably use more double string unisons if I wasn't constantly experimenting. I'm moving too fast. I'm moving too fast and making too many changes too fast to be sitting and retuning unisons and retuning unisons and retuning unisons, because I experiment. So I might retune a note several times. I don't want to mess with the unison. I'll do it when I'm done. I'll fiddle with it, because I can make some very subtle changes when I'm done with double string unisons, and it's easy. It's not hard. Okay, we have 8 people now. Woohoo! So I've talked about 2 things with aural tuning, and we've talked about other things that have nothing to do with aural tuning. Let's see. What should we talk about? I talked about A. Any questions? I hope somebody has a question. I can share an idea that I'm thinking about, but it's not really ready to be shared yet, but I could share it. So Jacob, I should ask Mark this, actually. I should just ask Mark. Jacob, I'm curious how you expand from the temperament into the lower tenor bass. Sure, I can talk about that. Yay. Okay, so going up is simple for me. Going down is not simple. So I'm going to talk about going down first. I think I already did this in another video too, but I don't remember, so I'm going to talk about it again. Why not? Boop, 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 boop. Okay, so what I want, and this piano's out of tune, so it's going to be back. Uh-oh, here goes my camera again. It's being finicky. There I am. Okay, so anyway. Oh wait, Salt Lake City. Back to Salt Lake City. Sorry, I just now clicked. Jim taught you. Hiram Weibel is your name. Is it Weibel? Weibel. Yeah, Hiram. Hi. I'm sorry. That just registered. Please tell Jim I said hello if you see him. He's a sweetheart. Okay. So let's say I've tuned F to F. And it's funny, I just talked about my temperament in the morning video. But let's see, here's F. Okay, let's say I've tuned F to F and I'm moving down. And I talked about this in a previous video, but it won't hurt. Fifth, fourth, major third, minor third, major sixth, progressing sixth. Now, let me go over why I'm doing those things. Oh wait, Jacob says, I'm curious how you expand. Yes, Jacob, especially on smaller pianos where you have, yes, compromises. I can definitely talk about that. Okay. So I'll get to that. So first we get the note basically where it needs to be. So the fifth, of course, has to be a little narrow. Fourth has to be a little wide. Thirds need to progress. Now, minor thirds also need to progress. And I want to show you something. Let me put my lever on E, and let me see how out of tune this is. Oh my God. Let me just lower A a little. Hold on. Oh, whoops. I'm going to slow these down just a little. Hold on. Let me raise E. I need to lower C. Hold on. And lower E a little more. Where am I here? Give me a moment. Okay. These are equal beating at the moment, but that's fine. So I want these to get slower, but minor thirds. I also want those to get slower. And here's what's cool about minor thirds. I'm putting my lever on E. All right. Major third. Let's just look at the major third here and a minor third. Minor third always has to be faster than the major third. Okay. Major third is a wide interval. Minor third is a narrow interval. That's why these are useful as you go down, because the minor third has to stay faster. If I'm lowering E with a major third, I'm speeding it up. If I lower E, I speed up this major third. But if I lower E, I slow down the minor third. It gives me a bottom limit of where I can put that E. If these become equal beating, I've pushed this too far. Okay. And the same thing with the sixth. Right now, this is equal beating, but my piano's out of tune. Excuse me, I'm quite sure that note's wrong. So let me do this. So I'm going to speed up E to G sharp. Maybe. Whoops. Well, okay, that's a lot. But now watch what happened to the minor third. Way slow. See? And no, so minor third, sixth. So the minor third is now slower than the major third and the sixth. Can't have that. So major thirds have to progress and minor thirds have to progress. Now, so I do fifth, fourth, major thirds progressing, minor thirds progressing, compare the minor third to the sixth. Sixth has to progress. So once all that's in place, my octave is going to come out. It just will. If it doesn't come out, something's really wrong. So it's a red flag. But most of the time, that octave will come out really well. I would check it now, except I know this is wrong, so there's no point. But that's how I start tuning outside my temperament. And so I'm going to do that at least to C. And frankly, on a better piano, I'll go way lower with the fifth, fourth, major third, minor third, sixth, all that. But once I'm down to C sharp or C, I'm going to start checking tenths. So, whoops, sorry. These have to progress. How about a pure tenth? That was funny. Let's have them speed up. Why don't we? This is so bad. I need to tune my piano again. I detune it every week when I teach, and then I try to tune it once a week. And sometimes I do it and sometimes I don't. What interval do you like to start listening to? Oh, when I go down up here, fifths. Fifth, fourth. Sometimes I do a major third first, and then do fifth and fourth, so it doesn't matter. But one of those three, fifth, fourth, or major third, fifth or major third rather, is first. So I do a fifth first, I go immediately to fourth. If I do major thirds, I go immediately to minor thirds. Then I check my fifth and fourth after I check my sixth. So one or the other, slow beating or fast beating, it depends on my mood. And then they all have to work, so it doesn't really matter. Then as I go down, I'm using tenths. Also progressing down to around here. Once I'm in this same area again, jump up. 17ths have to progress. As you go down, they cannot speed up. They can kind of stay close to equal beating. They can get a little slower. They cannot speed up. Once I'm down to here, along with everything else, so let's see. Probably because I try to reference my temperament as much as possible. So once I get past this note here, what are we going to call this? A sharp 2 or B flat 2. Once I get below that, I'm going to start listening to 12ths a lot more. So my 12ths, I don't want my 12ths to get wide. They can be narrow or pure, but they cannot be wide. So if I'm listening to this 12th, I can listen to it or I can measure it. That's almost wide there. Pure to wide. Weeble. What's Weeble? Salt Lake Piano says Weeble. What's Weeble? I don't know what Weeble is. Okay, well, tell me what Weeble is. So let's see, where was I? 12ths. Yes, I want to check my 12ths as I go down. I want my 12ths to be nice and quiet. As I get below, as I get below C2 and F2, I'm going to start listening to octave and minor 7th. These are going to be irregular because I didn't tune my piano because I'm a loser. No. So octave, minor 7th, and I will carry that down as far as I can. If I can't make it to the bottom, I use the dreaded tritone. So you go octave and a tritone. And 2 octaves and a tritone. Whoa. There it is. I want to reference my temperament octave as much as possible. I can hear an octave and a tritone better, but I want to check the double octave and a tritone just so I will always want to reference my temperament octave as I move down. As much as possible, reference the temperament octave to check things. What's Weeble? Salt Lake Piano. What's Weeble? Let's see here. Where are we? Hiram. Hiram, tell me what Weeble is. I do not know. So, Jacob, did that answer your questions? I hope. Bloop. So that's what I do there. And I'm gonna look at people. Hello, old Taima. Hello, old time. Is it old time? Taima. Hello. So, Jacob, I hope that answered. Oh, I didn't talk about going up. Do you want me to talk about going up? Well, there's almost no latency. Oh, cool. Nice. I think it depends on my internet speed. Jacob, yay. Do you want me to talk about going up? I'll talk about going up real quick. It's simple. I'm not fancy going up because I'm not dealing with the same. Oh, wait a minute. No, I didn't talk about. Oh, I forgot. My bad. I did not talk about inharmonicity shifts. Okay. So, gosh, I'm glad I thought of that. You asked and I didn't talk about it. All right. So let's say I'm coming down and let's say I hit a note and I go to my what I've been talking about, fifth, fourth, but let's say I get my fifth and my fourth good, and then my major third speeds up, which it's not doing right now. It's pure because this note's so out of tune. That's really bad. Okay. At least it's beating now, even though it's a couple beats a second. Let's say I tune and this major third all of a sudden is fast. And let's say the only way I can get this to slow down is to tune a pure fourth. Then I'm going to tune a pure fourth. Okay. My limit for raising this is going to be a pure fourth and or my fifth beating a full beat a second. That's my limit. And if this still speeds up after that, then I'm going to let it speed up, but it's not going to speed up as fast. That's how I deal with that. That's my personal preference, my choice. Because sometimes this can beat so fast, it's really nasty. And that's because of an inharmonicity shift. So what's happening, let me get my temperament strips here. My inharmonicity strips. Okay. So let's say, wonk. Let's say I have a sudden, this is on F sharp. Wait, can we see it? No. Let's say I have a sudden drop in inharmonicity. All right. So my coincident partial, where is my coincident partial? Let's see, that's a fourth. So I'm going here. So I'm 5 to, yeah, major third. Oh, brain. 5 to 4, major third. Okay. So if I tune fifths and fourths with the lower partials, and then I get to the major third, if my D has a drop in inharmonicity, then the partial from D, the fifth partial from D is going to be way flat of the partial from F sharp. Big difference. All of a sudden, big difference. Yes, Jacob, pure fourth and a somewhat too narrow fifth. Now, I have not figured this out yet. I want to figure this out and I haven't had time. Sometimes I will tune here and I will end up with a pure fifth and a pure fourth and get my thirds to progress. I still am not sure why that happens. And I'm convinced it's something to do with an inharmonicity shift and not my tuning because I've really worked at this. And I might be wrong, but at the moment, that's where I'm thinking. Old timer, I was wondering what you would suggest if tuning the piano with TuneLab with having measured inharmonicity, but then to make sure it's good. Okay, what should we check? Like intervals, etc. Okay, so this is the same thing. Same exact thing. So if I'm tuning by ear and I do the fifth and fourth first and my thirds don't come out, my limit is, now let's say this major third's way too slow. Okay, that means I want a lower D. My limit going down is a pure fifth. Yeah, think about it. It's a choice. This is a choice. You don't have to do this. Mark tunes a little differently than I do this way. And that's his choice. This is an artistic choice because really there are several options here. You know, he's not wrong or right. I'm not wrong or right. This is just my choice. So fifth, my limit for going down is a pure fifth and a fourth beating 2 beats a second. That's my limit. Whichever I hit first. And then if this still is too slow, I'll leave it be too slow. So that's aural tuning. Now, ETD tuning. So an ETD is going to do this exact same thing. If I'm tuning aurally and I do thirds first, which I often do here, then I go back and I discover the problem when I do my fifths and fourths, because one of them is going to be pure. And I can discover that. How you pronounce my last name? So like I am so slow sometimes. Wait, let me find it. Hold on. Weeble. Hiram Weeble. Hello, Hiram Weeble. Thank you. I'm sorry I'm slow. I just am. Sometimes I'm slow. It's okay. Oh, that's funny. Thank you. Okay. Okay, with an ETD is going to usually listen to fifths and fourths, same thing. When you measure these notes with an ETD, they will usually do better. They almost always do better. Some of them don't really fix it all the way. They'll move everything the right direction, but sometimes just not far enough. Sometimes they do well. So same thing. You go through with your thirds, make sure they progress. If you come along and one suddenly speeds up, this is with an ETD, checking an ETD. If one suddenly speeds up, the first thing you do is make sure it's not an illusion from the one before it being too slow. So like, let's say I'm coming down and C to E suddenly is too fast. I'm going to make sure, like, go a whole step. Make sure it's really not too fast and that the middle one isn't too slow and you just missed it. So that's a double check there. But let's say you come along and one's too fast. Then you aurally tune your fifth to be a little more narrow, your fourth to be closer to pure, and then get this to slow down as much as you can without making your fifth and fourth inverted or your fifth too beady. If you can, a lot of times you tune that pure fourth, your fifth still sounds good, and this slows down, it sounds great. Every now and then you can't get it slow enough. I try to get these equal beating or to speed up very little and then get my fourth and fifth to sound good. That's my goal. If you want to measure your fourth, it's this. If you don't know what that is, you need to look up my video. Major third, major sixth. The sixth should be faster if it's wide. If it's pure, they should be equal beating. In fact, that's inverted. My major third is just a little bit faster than the sixth. So this fourth is inside out right now. So I might want to lower that a little bit if I was shooting for a pure fourth. And then vice versa. If this were too slow, I'd make sure I didn't miss one that sped up above it. And you just do the opposite. My bottom limit for moving it down to speed up this major third is a pure fifth and a fourth that beats 2 beats a second. One or the other, whichever I hit first. Old timer. So do you mess with the top note of that's such a good question. I always forget to mention this. I always mess with the bottom note because that's where the inharmonicity shifts happen. They happen as you go down. It is possible that they happen as you go up. There's a way to measure that. But I don't think I have enough time to go into that now. I think I'll do that in my next live stream. I'll go over it real quick, but fast. Okay, so let's say I want to measure these two notes. Okay, C is not right. You compare the first and second coincident partial of the fifth. If there's a big difference, you note what that difference is. You compare it with the octave, first coincident partial. You note what the difference is. Which one is faster or slower, if one is pure, will tell you where the inharmonicity shift is. I'm not going to talk more about that right now because it's going to take way too long. But there's a way to check. Then I can check my upper note the same way. Fifth, octave with the G, preferably an upper octave. So you check the first and second coincident partial. Second and third coincident partial of an octave. I'm sorry, I misspoke earlier. First and second coincident partial of the fifth, second and third coincident partial of the octave. You can do first and second, doesn't matter. You compare them. And depending on the relationship, it will tell you which note is the problem. Because you've got an octave, and then a fifth. And you can kind of tell, You could do a fifth up here as well with the G as your bottom note. It gives you enough information to figure it out. I need to make a video on that. I'll try to do that. I'm really busy. But when in doubt, bottom note, because most pianos are pretty regular until you hit the break. So you're going to hit it when you go down. Yay. Okay, good. So last thing real quick, because I'm out of time, moving up. If I'm moving out of my temperament going up, I'm going to start out the same as going down. Fifth, fourth, major third, sixth going down. But I don't do minor thirds, major thirds up here, just those. I go those up to like here-ish, or let's see, here. I switch to these. Once I hit C, this is usually really regular. And so if I'm gonna make a mistake, it's gonna be here. This is where I'm gonna mess up because I start tuning. Let's see. It depends on what I've done first. So let's see, fifth, fourth, major thirds. Let me think. I'm gonna really shoot for 4 to 2 octaves here. Let's see, where am I going? Above C. Let's see. I'm thinking about what I do. I guess it depends on the piano. I don't know what I'll do in here. It'll fifths, fourths, thirds, sixths, but also 4 to 2 octaves. Then once I'm here, it depends if I've tuned down first or not. So I'll keep. Let me go up here. Let me go to A. A5. Once I'm at A5, I tune like this. So I guess that's a 4 to 1 octave. I'm tuning 4 octaves as high as I can go. And then when I'm at the top, I have tricks, which I'm not going to talk about now because it'll take you. Well, okay, let's see. What time is it? 9:02. I can't resist. Bro, I'm losing my mind. Okay, I'm out of time. Okay, so I'll tune quiet octaves just to get me close. Okay. And so I'm going to assume they're wrong. I'm just making sure I'm in the ballpark. 2 to 1, close-ish octaves, whatever. Then what you do is you compare octave, 12th, triple octave. Okay, you've got a double octave, but it's not as useful. So a single octave is wide. A 12th is narrow. Okay, if the single octave is noisier than the 12th, then it's probably sharp. If the single octave is quieter, if the 12th is noisier, then it's probably flat because this is narrow and this is wide. Now the triple octave is also narrow because by the time this partial gets all the way up there, it's really sharp from inharmonicity. So you've got 2 narrow intervals. You've got the 12th and the triple octave that are narrow. If they're both quiet, but the single octave is noisy, it's sharp. It just is, and vice versa. Double octave, kind of narrow, getting closer to pure there, so it's not as useful. But technically, it should still be narrow. You can use it. That's it. That's the nutshell. Woo, there's all my books. I have a lot of books. So I am over time. Thanks all, a whole bunch. Thank you. You're welcome. And the crowd goes wild. No, I'm kidding. I really appreciate everybody coming. And I really appreciate people early answering other people's questions because I know a lot about aural tuning. And I think I'm a pretty good teacher. You're welcome, Amy. I think I'm a pretty good teacher of aural tuning. However, I'd like to tell people I am not a concert technician. I am not a high-end technician. I know a lot of basics. But my gift is teaching aural tuning. That's my gift. And so that's what I claim to be able to do. Jacob, you're welcome. But with everything else, I really appreciate when someone asks, I almost missed the stream. Was nice to chat. Have a great day. Have a great day. I like it when people ask technical questions and someone's in my stream and they can answer the question. It's fantastic because I don't have to answer it because someone's here who knows. So I really appreciate that. I think that's friggin' awesome. Eric, Paris, keep it basic. I'm not basic. I am so not basic with RL tuning. I love to get into it. I have too much fun with it. It's my thing. All right. I have to go. Thank you all so much for coming. I might see you next month because I'm going to do this again at the last Thursday. So I'm just going to go. Thanks, everybody. Happy tuning. Thank you. Happy piano. Bye-bye.